I request all the faculty to please turn on your camera during the session to make it more engaging and interactive. As we all know, today's topic is the case method of teaching, and we have pleasure in introducing our esteemed speaker of the day, Professor Biswajita Parida. So, Biswajita Parida is an assistant professor of marketing in the Department Management Studies at the IIT Delhi, and she holds a fellow title from the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, as well. She has taught at several leading business schools, including XLRI Jamshedpur, IM Sambalpur, and NMIMS Mumbai. Her research interests span consumer behavior, advertising, and branding. And she has presented and published her work on prominent national and international platforms. Her teaching expertise includes integrated marketing communication, product and brand management, evaluation of consumer behavior, marketing management, and technology and marketing. So she has also designed and led number of successful continuing education programs, such as new product development management, executive program for advanced product management, and executive program for tech product management, all of which have received an enthusiastic response from industry participants. So, in recognition of her commitment of teaching excellence, she has been honored with the Teaching Excellence Award at IIT Delhi. Very warm welcome, ma'am, and I would now request you to kindly take the session ahead.
Thank you so much, Ranjana, for your kind words. And good morning, everyone. And Ranjana, to you especially, I thank you for organizing this and inviting me for the session and coordinating for the same. So thank you so much. So a warm welcome to all participants for the last session, but I'm expecting this to be more interactive and not one way. So if you can turn on your videos, that would be great. If not, we will still manage, but please be interactive. So that's a request. Yeah. Okay. So now, of course, you have heard about the introduction, but I will rather introduce myself as a facilitator in the classroom. And this is a virtual classroom, and all of us are facilitators, right? All of us are instructors. So we know the challenges in the classroom. We are very well aware that when we are entering a classroom, there are students who are mindful, there are students who feel lost, there are students who have come to probably for the first time to a classroom, right? They have been bunking classes. So we deal with various types of students. And also when we enter to different programs classroom, various generation of students. And the third type is executive programs, where we deal with people from different hierarchies in a corporate world, or working for ministry, or have their own business, but various hierarchies. Some of them are CEOs, some of them are joint commissioners somewhere, etc. So it's a very diverse classroom, right? So I would like to start on that note. When we are entering a classroom, which is diverse emotionally, physically, mentally, how to bring them all together to learn a concept which might not be of interest to them at that point in time, right? Why I'm saying so? Because in a B school, when we teach students, some of the concepts might not be of immediate relevance, but when they go on to work after probably a couple of years, they would come to see the relevance of the topics covered in the classroom, right? So immediacy and relevance is a problem, but how to bridge that? If we can create a scenario where we can place them to understand, okay, if it is 5 years ahead, then also the context, if they can visualize and understand. Nothing better than that, right? So that is why today we are going to talk about case method teaching, right? So let me share my slide with you and let me see if my slide is visible to everyone. Please give a
Yes,
thumbs up. Okay,
yes,
thank you.
please.
Yes, ma'am. Visible.
Okay, perfect. So now this is the topic of today, right? And I heard that this is your last session. So far you have covered various topics in order to how to manage a classroom, right? What content are meaningful today with respect to agribusiness education, etc. and various instructors from other schools have already interacted with you. So today, when I come from IIT Delhi, at IIT, what kind of students do we get in our B school, in Department of Management Studies, where I belong? So in B school, we have programs, MBAs, executive MBA program, PhD programs, etc. And there could be freshers in the classroom, so which do not have any work experience. And there are people who come from 1 year to 2 year to up till 4 year, 5 years of work experience, right? And basically, why they come to join this program? Because maybe somewhere in their mind, of course, placement is the first thing. But other thing is maybe for some of them learning, but most importantly, networking and jumping the hierarchy too soon. Because if they had continued in the corporate world to reach a particular designation of their choice, it might have taken them 8 to 10 years of time. By having this MBA degree, probably they will be reaching there in just 2 to 3 years, right? So those are some of the things in their mind. And in between all this, when they're calculating ROI, when they're thinking about placement, in between all this, we are trying to engage them in classroom, making them visualize a scenario which might be of relevance to them after 3 to 4 years, right? So this is indeed a difficult task. And second level difficulty is how to engage them in the clutter of digital devices that they have, right? And all of us face that scenario in classroom, whether in IIT, NIT, state institutes, state universities, etc., or private schools, wherever we are from, we all are facing similar challenges. So we all have a common thread to discuss, that how to make learning interesting to them, how to make learning relevant to them, how to make learning application oriented, and how to still, when we ourselves are figuring out whether we are relevant in the face of AI, and this is added level of challenge. Multimedia cases are also evolving. Digital media, when they have access to audio-visual classrooms, where we are going into mundane classrooms and trying to teach them something, right? So these are added level of challenges. When they can learn the same concept from a YouTube video, say in 30 minutes, why should they come to class and spend 1.5 hours with you, right? So, and I myself also go through existential crisis from time to time, that I have always been a passionate teacher, but would I be relevant in a few years' time when AI is a better tutor than me, right? And I have introspected and I have found that if we keep following a teaching method, which is actually involving, discussion oriented, and facilitates debates and arguments, discussions, etc., then probably we are going to be better than what other methods they have access to, right? So the answer then lies in case discussion within the classroom. And how do you facilitate case discussion? So this is the context. So students are in the clutter of media exposure, information, etc. Teachers are exposed now to AI, etc. And in the middle of all this, how do we engage the teacher-student interaction? How do we engage them in classroom better with case method teaching, right? So I hope we all understand the importance of case method all the more in the face of AI and digital media evolution, right? Because I feel this is the only method probably which can have multiple discussions, debates, viewpoint sharing, etc. Otherwise, teaching and learning could be just monologues or boring for them. We can, of course, try to be interactive and engaging, but we can't beat the multimedia access that they have at hand, right? So let's not compete with the multimedia access that they have, but create our own separate path with case method to engage and drive the classroom discussion better, right? So that's the whole point of today's session. And for that, we have few highlights of the day. So these we are going to cover very quickly within 1 hour time. So by 12, we need to wind up. That's the instruction. We'll see how it goes, right? So we have just discussed, bit of fundamentals around relevance of case method, etc. But I will now contextualize this to agribusiness. So agribusiness, of course, overall industry is growing, products are growing, manufacturing is growing, etc. But agribusiness today is of much more importance than yesterday. Okay? And lot of students are now keen to have their entrepreneurial journey in agribusiness industry. And which is why probably we are able to see much interest in this domain now. If you have been watching Shark Tank, there are so many companies recently, right? So tractor manufacturing company over the period of, they have so far 4 seasons. So over 4 seasons, you would see how many agribusiness companies are coming up to pitch there. So this is also inspiring a lot of young minds in India that this industry is full of opportunities ahead, especially in India, right? So that then in this particular case, will the case method be a little bit of different, or it is as in regular B schools that we have where we do not have agribusiness program, right? IIM Ahmedabad had agribusiness, still has FABM, right? Food and Agribusiness Management. Many other leading B schools, they have food and agribusiness management stream where students go through a separate program from the regular program. It is customized to meet the demand in that particular domain, right? So then how case method looks different for these sort of programs, right? If you are definitely an instructor there in those programs, how do case method will look different there, right? Before that, we will take a minute to understand what is case method teaching, basically, right? Is it any different from lecture method? The answer is yes. It's a no-brainer that it is different from lecture method. And why case method? Because this is the only method, as I told you, probably, which requires engagement, deep engagement with students with various viewpoints. So we actually, there, we are not instructors, we are facilitators, right? And cases are nothing but simulations of real business scenario or field scenario, and we are bringing that to classroom. Okay, and every student there either steps into the shoes of the protagonist in the case or the shoes of different stakeholders involved in the case. So they are doing sort of role playing in the classroom. And instructor is acting as a bridge between all those role players, right? Among these different stakeholders, protagonists, etc., we are trying to act as a bridge, right? Of course, case method is age old and introduced by Harvard Business School. In India, IIM Ahmedabad, of course, 100% case pedagogy. There are other B schools which have also adopted it. So increasingly, B schools are taking to case method as their pedagogy, right? So here we all have gathered here because we have some interest in this particular method, I believe, right? So it brings about problems into classroom, real life scenarios into classroom. Also, it engages students to a deeper extent, a large extent, and places instructor as facilitators. This is what case method teaching does in a classroom. Then, do we have supporting infrastructure in the classroom? What do you need for case method discussion, right? Why case method is clear, but why do we is our infrastructure supporting case method teaching? What do we need? We need, of course, a flexi kind of seating arrangement, right? So which means they cannot be restricted to their place. If it happens, it is all, these are all ideal scenario. So which means I should be able to turn around to change my position, right? So revolving chairs could be one way. Round tables could be another way, infrastructure wise. Well structured classroom, right? Another way, infrastructure wise, which will support the classroom. because you are instructors, we are talking about infrastructure in the classroom, right? And a big board which can be divided into multiple quadrants to place different viewpoints. So blackboard management is an important, blackboard, whiteboard, smartboard, whichever you have. So that management is an important component in case method teaching, right? If I have a very small board and every time I write something to write the next bunch of points, if I have to erase this, then this method could be a bit tricky for you. Might not work very ideal for you, right? But still, of course, all of us are, going through resource constraints at some stage. I understand that. Probably we can innovate there how to still use my existing infrastructure to support case method teaching, right? So innovation also comes as a part of our job. So now the thing is, these are some of the infrastructurally supportive arrangement that we can ask for in the classroom to have case method teaching as a pedagogical method, right? So now, why use cases in agribusiness, right? So regular programs are understandable. Why particularly in agribusiness? Because when we are not talking about only agriculture, but agribusiness, then of course management, economics, sustainability, right? Other fields are coming into play. So when we are bringing cases, it is not on the core concept might be just one, but there are multiple domains we are touching upon while we are teaching the case. Right? So, because, and we also discussed why case because it's a real life simulation, which means as an instructor in the class, probably we have a theory or framework or concept to teach the class in mind for that particular session. But they should also be able to visualize the application of it, right? So, bridging the theory and practice. So, that's one part. Second is we are enabling them to take certain decisions on the face of crisis, on the face of resource constraint, on the face of financial constraints, etc. So, decision making skills we are trying to inculcate and empower them for better decision making by bringing case study as a pedagogical method in classroom, right? And also earlier discussed that we are respecting multiple viewpoints because that's what typically happens in a boardroom discussion, right? Multiple viewpoints for, against, someone is sitting on the fence, is indecisive. And we are writing down all their viewpoints and also arguing in favor or against. Like we are playing devil's advocate at times in classroom, right? And we will get examples from each. Now, suppose we will say that we have taken a case in class about, say, recent farmers' protest in India, right? So, recent farmers' protest, and we have taken that case to be discussed in classroom. So, some of them will be in favor of this, some of them will be against this, and some of them will be neutral, right? So, as an instructor, when we are facilitating the discussion without being disrespectful, which means that we keep our viewpoint to ourselves, but we try to understand why a student is thinking in a particular manner, why he or she is in favor of this protest, right? What is the root cause? So, we are trying to discover this by asking more and more in-depth questions and writing their pointers. Suppose in Blackboard, we have created 3 columns: favor, against, and neutral, right? So in favor, we are writing down their points. Then we move to the next group. And we have, how have we started this? So we should have started this by asking a question, right? Which is binary answer, yes or no. So these are in case method teaching, when you open the class with a poll question or a binary answer question, that makes it more interesting because they suddenly start paying attention. So it's a hook question, attention grabbing question in the beginning, right? So you are asking how many of you, favor the recent farmers protest? How many of you are actually against it, right? Can you please raise your hand? You take the count, make the poll, and write it on the board. Suppose in a class of 50, and here we have around 30 participants. Similarly, in your class of 50, suppose majority are in favor, right? Suppose say 30 people are in favor of this. So you write the number 30 for yes. Then there might be 18 people who are against it. You write the number 18. Then two are indecisive. So they have not decided whether they are in favor or against. And you write the number 2. So now 30, 18, and 2, when you have written on the board, this catches everyone's attention. Now the class already is thinking, okay, the professor has put the numbers there and looks like majority are in favor. So even people who are against it, they are contemplating, right? Should I join the majority or not? This is the psyche. So now you always start with the minority viewpoint. That is interesting because majority, of course, they are in majority. When you start asking from the minority group that, why are you against this? Can you tell me reasons? And then you make it a point that reasons are not redundant, which means they can't go on repeating the reasons. So you ask one person, okay, reason X, you note it down on the board. Then you move to the next person, reason Y. So you list down exhaustive list of reasons against the farmers' protest, right? Now you move to the majority group. That some of you who feel, many of you feel that you are in favor of this protest. You have heard from the other party. Now have you changed your mind? Okay, there would be some people who might have changed their mind by now. Then you can pick those. Why were you in favor? And now why are you against this? Right? This is one way of facilitating. Other ways, you just ask the majority group, write down their points also on the board, and then create another poll, right? And when you are asking them the reason, ask them to explain why this, why not that, what is your viewpoint about this. So this is afterwards discussion. So what did you do in this case? So this is a real life case you have brought to the classroom. You are starting the case with by a poll. You are asking them how many of you are in favor, how many against, and how many undecisive. You have written down the result of the poll. You started with minority, moved to majority, asked them their explanation and points, and then you are opening it for class discussion. So irrespective of minority and majority, you are asking how many of you have now changed your minds, or people who were neutral, now what do you think, which side do you belong and why, right? So here you are creating towards the end another poll. Has the class situation, reversed now? Or is there any change from the beginning? And with the poll, you write the new numbers, right? So what happens in this case? From starting to the end, students are engaged because they now have a viewpoint which they have to stand by or justify or listen carefully to the rest, because there is another poll there where they have to say whether they have switched their viewpoint or not, right? Or they stick to their origin. Now, here the catch is the second poll's number might be completely different from the first poll's result. So 3018-2 might be 1832, right? In this case, students might feel that the actual decision is against the protest. So that's the right option. Students might feel. So as a facilitator, your job here is to tell the class there is no right or wrong option. What we did in class is we discussed the scenario and we have heard all viewpoints. Now it is up to you to take the decision. Which side do you stand and why? So as an instructor, we are not clouding their voices. We are not coloring their viewpoints. What we are trying to show them is a mirror, right? This is how all of us think like. And now you take the decision, weigh the pros and cons, and see which side of the room you belong, right? Or there is a middle path. Okay, because tomorrow they might be in that position that in their own companies, there is a protest because they all are going to be in the agribusiness domain. And these protests are somehow part of their life going to be. So they need to understand if in such a scenario they are somewhere in future, they are finding themselves, how to take the right decisions, how to hear different perspectives and evaluate and then take the right decision. That's the takeaway from the case. It's not what's right or wrong. What they are taking away is how to be mindfully listening to other viewpoints, how to ask the right questions, and how to weigh pros and cons. This is what they are learning away from the case discussion in class. So, as an instructor here, our strength is to ask the right type of questions. Also, as an instructor, we should, exercise some restraint, which is what we think we should keep to ourselves. We should not tell what we think about the case. Rather, hear from the class that what they think and ask the right questions. Okay. So this is one way of dealing with this particular case. Now, what I'll show to all of you that there are not all cases are like this. There are different types of cases. So you might be choosing sometimes, a decision case, right, where you have to take a decision whether to reduce the price of my product or not, right? It's a decision case. Or whether to go for this particular vendor or not. This is a decision case, right? Or sometimes you have to deal with an evaluation case. Ideally, we all as instructors should pick one of these four, and at the end of the course, we need to see that we have created cases or curated cases from all four buckets, because these lead to different skill sets improvement within the students, right? So when we are taking evaluation cases, and the topic is in front of you, right? Assess the success of a contract farming model, right? So whether it is a success or failure, or to assess the effectiveness of that, some method that we have newly adopted, a process that we have adopted in a corporate or organization, we want to do the impact evaluation, effectiveness evaluation, right? So then it is an evaluation case. Decision case in agribusiness context, should the cooperative switch to organic inputs, right? Since more and more organic farming, organic consumption is the trend, this is a decision case. Then we come to problem solving case. So there could be a case where there is a problem and you as a protagonist have to solve the case, right? So you have perishable commodities, like say milk is perishable, right? How to bring about supply chain disruptions, right, for perishable commodities and goods. And last but not the least, the category is illustrative case. For example, somebody has proved themselves, some organization is a legacy organization, proved himself multiple times over and over again. So we bring those legendary cases to classroom, like Amul, how Amul became a dairy giant, right? So this is what is illustrative case. So there could be a Kirloskar case in class, right? Kirloskar is also again a giant in manufacturing. Again in agribusiness domain, it would be. So those cases are legendary cases. So in a typical classroom, for a typical course, as an instructor, we need to see that we have picked up cases from these four buckets, right? So that monotony of the class is broken. Also, this excites the class because every time a different exercise, a different case, a different concept, a different framework. So it breaks the monotony and engages the class. Okay. What typically I found, just as a lighter note I'm sharing with you. So in a classroom, of course, I pick and choose from these buckets, but whenever I have shared any case on alcohol, right, it is a particularly exciting case for the batch. This is what I have observed, right, across the programs, especially with younger crowd. When we have picked up cases like beverages, spirits, tobacco, all these cases excite them. I understand the reason, but then I can't repeat those cases in every class. So that could be just one off. So in between, you can do experiments on exciting topics, exciting cases, change the cases from time to time to keep the class excitement alive. But at the end of the day, the types of cases must be, an exhaustive list from here, and not only one type of case in every session, right? So now this is what we have learned so far. Why do we use case method in classroom? What infrastructural support do we need to use case method, right? And what role do we play? And we also did a case here itself that if we are taking a decision making case, right, whether a farmer protest is good, bad, which side, why not, then how do we simulate that in a classroom, right? We can start with a poll, take the viewpoint, create 3 columns, then take a second poll at the end, and then wrap up the class, right? So this is how a decision making case can be taken forward, right? Yes, no, binary poll, etc. But there could be not every case you can do this method, but majority of the cases you can attack the beginning with a poll question, which is very interesting to class. Okay. So this is and types of cases. So this is what we have covered so far, right? In the last few minutes, let's spend that what is the anatomy of a good case? When we have access to a case repository and we are picking the types of cases that we discussed earlier, how do we pick a good case? There are multiple cases written, multiple cases published, but how do we pick a good case? One is contextual relevance, right? Rich context. So it is AI or today AI ML, use of AI in manufacturing, contract farming, hydroponics, all those, of course, are contextual, relevant, etc. But more than that, when as an instructor, you are first reading the case, do you feel engaged? Right? That's the first question. Does the case have a compelling storyline? Is it well written, relevant, engaging, realistic? All these pointers you can notice when you are reading the case. So I spend a lot of time while I'm finalizing the case for the class, right? I go through multiple cases, then pick the case. Suppose you need to teach marketing mix, right? 4P. I teach marketing, that's why that example. So what is the case that I should choose? There are classic cases and there are most recent cases, right? So classic cases, many of them might have heard, etc. But recent cases, so recently I have included a role of AI in product development, 2, 3 cases, right? Those were particularly exciting to class because that's something new. And we discussed about a spice mix company abroad, how they have collaborated with IBM much earlier to come up with different spices for different palates all over the world, right? All of us have different palates for spice, Western palates, Mexican palates, right? Indian palates, all our palates are different. So this McCormick is a spice manufacturing company. How it collaborated with IBM to come up with flavors, innovative flavors for different palates all over the world. So this is what was the case about, and the class was completely engaged. We had a video for it, right? So that was very interesting. So similarly, when you are finalizing a case, there are multiple types of case these days. You do not have only text cases. You also have multimedia cases where they come with a video. You also have graphic cases where there are cartoon series, that's the case, right? Which they don't have to read a case. So you can experiment with this. We also have quick cases, so which are only 2, 3 pages, 4 pages long. And today you should not experiment beyond 10 pages cases. So long format cases are gone because students are not reading anymore and attention span is, of course, drastically shooting down. On the face of that, we as instructors must pick and choose variety of cases of different length. So I have recently experimented with graphic case, which the class was completely overwhelmed with because they have not done anything like that before. So it was a cartoon series and it was about sexual wellness in India, that market. So of course the topic is relevant, exciting. The case was very different. which they found interesting to read and go through. So graphic cases, multimedia cases, text cases, short format or quick cases, all these you can pick and choose within those four baskets, right, that we earlier discussed. But when you are reading a case as an instructor, can you move beyond the first page? That will decide whether the case is interesting or not. If you yourself have given up reading the first paragraph, do not select that case for the class, right? And the decision point is clear, right? Clarity of decision point, clear dilemma, because these generations, I mean, increasingly Generation Z, they want clarity, right? In IIM Ahmedabad, when we were studying, so that time we have dealt with 60, 70 pages cases where the dilemma is not very, very clear. You have to read the case probably 3, 4 times to actually come to know what is the clear dilemma, some of those, right? And when the teacher, when the professor enters the classroom and asks the question, how many of you have read the case? If one has not read the case, he or she can just walk out of the classroom, right? So all of us had to read the case. All of us had to come with a clear dilemma, and there was this instruction that before every case, you have to submit 1 page analysis, your own analysis of the case to the instructor, right? So all those today, if you want to do, probably ChatGPT is doing the analysis, right? Probably they are not reading the case and coming to class. So all these are real life challenges. So on the face of that, how can we still make them read the case, analyze the case, be interested in the case discussion? So these are some of the challenges. So answer to that is, of course, switching off all digital media in classroom, having your own interesting videos to play, right, in the classroom pertaining to the case, experimenting with type of cases from time to time, graphic, multimedia, etc., which might interest them rather than just mundane reading, and seeing to it that there is clarity upfront, right? So upfront clarity is important for this generation. And hence, a good case today would mean that the dilemma is very, very clear, the storyline is engaging, and the context is relevant, right? So, which means that open ended questions are for us to ask in the class, but the case can't be open ended to read with, right? So, now in this case, so good case we have created following the first 3 steps. But open ended question we are going to ask because, of course, no case has an obvious answer. There is no right or wrong answer, right? And here is an example, right? Reviving a farmers producer organization in Punjab, suppose, right? Is an example. And this is no obvious answer to it. They have to think, churn their mind as to what can be an answer to this. And as an instructor, we need to give them that space, right? Ask the right questions here. Can they churn their mind during this period of 1 hour or 1.5 hours in the classroom, right? And then some background reading we should provide before the case. So while we are assigning a case to the class, we need to assign it much prior to the class that's happening. Maybe today, 1 week before. Suppose you have a class 1 week after, and you have suppose twice a week you have a class with them. So the first class ends and you circulate the case for the next class, right? So that you give them some time and provide with some background readings, right, which will help them to think better. And then the dilemma should be clear to them, which you are going to discuss in class, right? So this is the anatomy of a good case: compelling storyline, clear dilemma, right, rich context, which means contextual relevance, etc., and then no obvious answers can come to their mind immediately. So then that's a good case. Okay. So now coming to the role of yours, which is an instructor with respect to a rich case. As we told that you are just a facilitator, we all of us are facilitator, and we have to make them step into different stakeholder shoes, right? Sometimes the protagonist in the case. So we need to ask guiding questions and not leading questions. Leading questions means, don't you think if he had done that, so we suppose is a CEO's dilemma, right? Whether to take a decision that should we phase off this particular process or not? Should we phase out of this new product or not? This is a CEO's dilemma, suppose we are discussing. We need to ask guiding question, right? If he or she does not take the decision at this point, what will happen as a consequence of it? It is a guiding question. Leading question is, don't you think if he does it right away, it is better for the company? So you are asking a leading question. You are cueing them to think in the manner that you think is right. Okay. So as an instructor, we are playing facilitator role, and hence we should be asking guiding questions to students and not leading questions. Okay. And then, of course, we should encourage various viewpoints, write it down to make those people feel important in classroom. Whenever someone is participating, we need to write it down so that they feel important and they pay attention. If you don't write someone's viewpoint, they feel dismissed and hence they lose attention in the classroom, right? And then, of course, at the end, we need to summarize some key insights and manage time, etc. Those all blackboard planning, managing time. Where should I spend how much time, etc. Which part in the case I should discuss deeply, which part I should just skip over. Those are all instructors' preparation. So case teaching, that's why is difficult also, because it is, from instructor point of view, also it's full of efforts, not only from the student point of view. So both parties have to put in a lot of effort to make it an enriching discussion in classroom, right? So then while you are yourself preparing for the class, you also prepare the students, right, for the discussion ahead. So reading material sharing, which we have discussed. But then when you are asking them to analyze the case, you set their expectations in the sense, what I do sometimes is give them 3 questions. While you are reading the case, think about these 3 questions and then come to classroom, right? So they think about 1 or 2 or 3 questions that you circulate. So their expectation is that around these points, there will be discussions in the classroom. And so that both you and the student, your expectations are already set. You know what exactly we are going to discuss in class. Okay. So this helps the instructors to better manage time. Because you have given them 3 questions, you can decide 30 minutes I'm going to spend on question number 1, question number 2, probably 20 minutes. Last 10 minutes, I'm going to spend on question number 3. Right? This is how it helps you manage time and guide the discussion in classroom. Right? And of course, when we discuss about majority, minority, neutral stakeholders, viewpoints in classroom, we can create groups to facilitate group discussion. So this is the group. You can allow them 10 minutes to discuss within group and come up with 3 points that they think are important, right? So we can create such group discussions within the case discussion in classroom. But at the end of the day, what is important for the instructor is to cover content in the classroom. And we need to see that the case, while it drives clarity, discussion, etc., it does give me a space to discuss one or the other framework, concept, construct, or theory in the classroom, right? So we give them the framework. Suppose it's a pricing decision, whether to reduce the price or hike the price. In that case, I give them some pricing framework, psychological pricing, charm pricing, etc. So suppose your product is now 45 rupees, you can actually go up till 49 and not beyond, because it anchors to the lower price point. So there's still, when it is 49, psychologically, customers still think it is in 40s and not in 50s, right? So, which means that it is a win-win for both. You are able to create that 4 rupees hike as a company. As a customer, you also feel that the price is not hiked so much because your anchor is the lowest price point in that category. And this case also gives me a space to discuss about different types of pricing strategies. Okay. So now when we are discussing a case, our objective is that the student should learn and should be learning to apply certain frameworks and theories and concepts. And so in agribusiness or whichever domain, when we are taking the good cases, curating good cases for class, we need to see that what framework I am able to discuss in the classroom by virtue of the case discussion, right? So accordingly, pricing material you have to circulate before so that in class you can ask them some questions from there, right? So now comes to how do I assess my case discussion? How do I get feedback from the class, right? So now as an instructor, in case discussion, we follow an evaluation policy called CP, class participation. So who is saying how much, what they are saying, etc. So always evaluate quality over quantity, give weightage to quality over quantity, because there are tendencies by some students to speak more in the class. But if we can make it very clear from the beginning, it is not their frequency of participation, but quality of participation, right? So how do we define quality? That any pointer that they have said, which has led to further engaging conversation or discussion or piqued curiosity of other participants, right? So those are markers of quality. Also, this could be one parameter to evaluate case discussion participation. Second is written submission. When we are asking them to write one-page analysis before the case discussion, that could be another evaluation component, right? Third is we can do peer feedback. So which means towards the end of the case, we can ask the class about voting, right? What do they think about this point, that point? What do they think about? We can also create groups. What do they think about group X, group Y? So peer feedback we can do. This is difficult. Peer feedback, also self-evaluation. How much do you weigh your own participation out of 10, etc. This is difficult and rarely exercised, but written and participation grading mostly use. Majority of us use that. Then the other is instructor feedback, which means what do you think about this particular discussion? How can I drive this better, right? Alternate logic, etc. So students sometimes can give you better feedback also to drive the class discussion much better next time. So as an instructor, do talk to some of the students as to how did they find the discussion, how can it be better, etc. It definitely helps in my point of view, right? Then final is wrapping up, and if they have any questions, who can answer, right? You engage the class in question answer session. You have done the group activities, right? You have done the feedback, assessment, etc. Key takeaways, summary points at the end you have written. This is what we have discussed. Then you do some question answer. Other post session material also you can give them resources to explore, etc. And now coming to this particular session, you yourself can explore IMA Case Center, IIM Ahmedabad. So they have many interesting Indian cases written. Harvard Business Publishing for agriculture cases, but many of them, I mean, some of them would be, of course, companies abroad take that decision, but IMA definitely has many interesting cases. If you have your own in-house case centers, you can explore the repository in your universities or colleges, etc. And that brings us to the final 2 minutes of today's session. So where I want to tell you what we have covered so far, right? So what we have covered is what we highlighted in the beginning, that why case method, right? Types of cases, infrastructural support. As an instructor, what's your role? What's our role and how can we facilitate? We took examples here in this session, how to take different types of case and how to open it with a poll or binary question or subjective question, etc. Different buckets of cases, right? Also, we discussed that what is anatomy of a good case, right? What are relevant today? short cases, quick cases, graphic cases, multimedia cases, etc., which are contextual, clear dilemma, etc. And then we discussed how do we prepare the students, how do we assess, and how do we collect feedback about the case, and what are the different resources available to us. This is what we discussed today. And that brings me to the final thank you slide. But before that, if you have any questions, please let me know. But thank you for your attention. Do you have any question for me? How did you find the session, etc.? That would be helpful if you can share.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really great learning. And ma'am, I had just one question. When you were teaching this regarding the type of cases, so I noted down there is problem-solving cases, decision case, illustrative case, and one actually I missed. So could you repeat that, ma'am, please?
Evaluation case. I'll share the
Okay,
slides also.
okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rabish. Yeah. Any other question?
So faculties, if you wanted to discuss, please go ahead, because today it will be the last session, and definitely it was very interactive session today as well. So if you have anything
They
to
might
discuss,
have been very tired by today, right?
it's a holiday for, I think, some of the
Yes.
universities and colleges. So I guess
Yeah. If no other question, then we can definitely.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, madam. Myself, Dr. Mane
Yes.
from
Hello,
Indore.
Dr. Mane.
Uh, I am teaching agriculture extension subject for BSc AG students.
Okay.
And normally we give the example of successful farmers or award winning farmers for motivation to others.
Right.
So can it be a case study?
Yes, of course. So when you are saying that we give example of these successful farmers, you can create a small caselet by yourself. If there is no case written on them, you can create your own caselets, which is a small, maybe 2-3 paragraphs, right? Not more
Okay.
than that. So what has been their journey? So past history, right? And what was the turning point in their life which made them successful? And some key takeaways, right, from their life, which can be replicated if someone wants to be a successful farmer. So, like that, you can write probably a page, 500 words case for the students to follow. Yeah. And you can discuss this from the very beginning, like questions like, what do you think has made him or her a successful farmer? How do you define success, right, in a farmer's life, right? Is it money that he or she made? Is it the impact he or she created? Is it the award that they won? Or is it public recognition? So around these, there could be discussion also. And why do you think they became successful? Do you think you can also become one by following the same path? Things like that.
Hmm.
So instead
Okay.
of just a lecture, you can create a small case around it and circulate it for reading, pre-reading, post-reading, and you can try discussing it as a case.
Okay. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Any other question?
so. Ma'am, Mr. Saurabhi Pandey sir will also be going to join in next 2-3 minutes. So just wanted to.
Okay.
So let me introduce him as well. I mean, faculty. So other faculties may be not aware, maybe not know him. So I'm pleased to introduce to all the faculties. Mr. Saurabhi Pandey is a founder of ISAB Greater Noida, whose work and leadership have made a significant impact in the field of agribusiness and entrepreneurship. So he has done his bachelor's degree in agriculture from GBPUA&T PANTNAGAR, and he is an alumnus of the prestigious postgraduate program in agribusiness management from IIM Ahmedabad. So he will be
Right.
joining
Thank you.
soon. Yeah,
I
thank you.
just joined. Rajna. Thank you very much for your kind words.
Very
Let
good
me give
morning.
my gratitude to my mentor, my colleague, Biswajita madam. Great to see you, ma'am, here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Saurav. I'm also very pleased to see you after a long time. And thank
Yeah.
you for organizing this for all the instructors. I think definitely immense help to them. And also thank you for coordinating with so many faculties or different institutes. So it might have been an uphill task. But thank you for doing this.
Absolutely, ma'am. So the idea behind is like, how can we basically, train our fellow faculties from agribusiness institution the way our premier faculty is being basically they're delivering their expertise with the students. So hence we have requested you, then we have requested a faculty from IIM Lucknow, then the top faculty from XIMB, and then we have from IIM Kashipur, our Dean Sahab. So accordingly, then we have requested all the faculties around, and then again we have circulated these emails to more than 1,000 plus, agriculture colleges, universities, to their vice chancellors, to DSWs, and requested that if they can basically sponsor their faculties. So in this task, our entire promotion team, administration team, under the guidance of Ranjana Madam, and then Kanchan is here, then Amanji is here, so and Shaurya. So we all did this task to kind of make a platform, a forum where faculties can come on a same platform and how they can deliver the best to those students. So I think this is a fourth TOT in a row,
I see.
and so far we have trained, I'm sure, more than 1,000 plus faculties from all over India, and registration I think in more than 3,000 plus. So it's kind of a annual event now, kind of flagship event of ISAB that we are doing regularly. And if time permits and if everybody is comfortable, then we also would like to invite faculties in an offline mode to campus for the valedictory, where we will request our faculties like you and nearby faculties to give these certificates by your own hand to these faculties, right, in our own auditorium. So that is what we are planning, madam.
Okay, that is great. So if we can, of course.
Yeah, offline meeting is always, good to exchange our emotions. As of now, information exchange is going on, but sometimes as a human, we need to exchange our emotions as well. So for that, offline meeting would be needed.
Absolutely. I would be happy if I can make it. I mean, depending on what time it is, etc. So I would love to be there.
Right, ma'am. And once all the faculties, thank you very much for joining here. I hope you have learned something which you can deliver to your students. And do mention whenever you are bringing anything new in the classroom, do mention the name of the faculties from where you have received this information, right? Always, yes, that would be a great kind of feeling for you. And thank you very much once again, everybody. Thank you, Ranjana.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much, sir, for joining us.
And I'll take your permission then. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you so much, ma'am, again for conducting this session, and of course for taking the time out to share your knowledge and insights with us. So it has truly been a privilege to learn from you, and I hope all the faculty must have gained some knowledge, and they have must have enjoyed. They have enriched these sessions. So faculties from your side, thank you so much for joining us on time, and it's really a very. We understand that on holidays also you were there and you were joining these sessions, and it's actually a good experience for us also. So just wanted to hear from you. Like I hope you have enjoyed all the TOT workshops, and these were all engaging and enriching for you as well. So we would now love to hear your thought and reflection, like because your feedback means a lot for us. So anything you wanted to share, anything you wanted to discuss with us, so that we can make it more effective uh, now onwards, maybe for the next year also.
Okay. So I can leave now, right?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your
Yeah.
timing.
Thank you,
Yes.
everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
All the best.
Great, ma'am. Thank you. यस फैकल्टीज आप कुछ भी शेयर कर सकते हैं अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस जो भी अभी तक आपने 7 सेशन में लिया है, या कोई भी ऐसा फीडबैक इफ यू वांटेड टू शेयर विद अस जहाँ पे हम लोग इम्प्रूव कर सकें. यस मैम, प्लीज. यस मैम.
Hello.
यस मैम.
Yeah, it was really enriching and knowledgeable for all of us. But one thing I just had one feedback to give. regarding the timings, because it was not uniform and beforehand we prepared so many things just to attend one webinar. So to be present at the same time, with our devices ready. So only that thing was lacking in few sessions. Like beforehand, we were not able to understand what was the timing.
So, ma'am, do you want this in the second half or you want to make it for the first half? Because on holidays, on Sundays, we have kept it for 11 to 12, so that after that, all the faculties can do their part of work,
Yeah,
right?
it's okay
Schedule
on
it
holiday,
by
but in rest of the days, working days, it is always good in the second half.
so, ma'am, we have time. The timings were 4 to 5 only. So, maximum time the session start from 4:10, like because we have to wait for all the faculties. So, it generally starts from 4:10 or somewhere 4:15 onwards only.
Yeah, I just wanted to sometimes the timing is not clear because very last moment I get the message or mail and
Uh,
preoccupied with the work.
we'll
So that's
definitely
what.
take care of it, ma'am. We will take care of it. But we shared the itinerary also with all the earlier participants. So we have shared the itinerary also.
Yeah.
So great, ma'am. But we always welcome the feedback, and we'll definitely work on it also. So anything, sir, ma'am, please, anyone, if you want to share anything.
Excuse me,
Yes, sir.
I am Dr. M.K. Tiwari, BM College of Agriculture, Khandwa,
Yes, sir.
which is the college of this RVSKV Gwalior. Actually, such type of program, especially for design for the teachers. So that is a
Right.
unique program and is very helpful for improving our teaching activities in our colleges. So I would like to thanks to the ISAB as well as the speakers who have given a very unique inputs for improving our teaching activities. And that is really I appreciate it. And I would like to get the opportunity to interact physically whenever we get the opportunity at any place or moment. So that will be more encouraging to me to interact physically with the such type of resource persons. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. And we are also planning, as our director, as our founder, sir, already have told you that we are planning for the offline sessions. So soon you will be able to hear this thing that we will be inviting you faculties here in our campus for the felicitation, or maybe for having the at least 1 day session here in our auditorium. We'll definitely invite, sir. Yes, sir.
Good good morning, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Yes. Good morning, ma'am, and good morning, the fellow colleagues from different corners of our amazing nation. I'm Professor Dr. Mehul Ji Thakkar, working as Professor of Human Resource Management at Navsari Agricultural University, Navsari, Gujarat. I was a participant of your ToT, which was held way back in January 2024 also. And this time I am even more delighted because bringing seven such veterans from different domains, from different renowned institutions, which are pride of the nation, and giving them topics which are of current concerns. All the sessions were very much engaging, and all the speakers made sure that despite the fact that it was held in online mode in a webinar fashion, but they made sure that it turned out to be a participative forum, and our question answer sessions were also very well dealt with, and all the time they were encouraging us to contribute. So it was a worthy experience, and I would love to second the opinion of my earlier colleague who shared his viewpoints that we would love to come down to your amazing campus of Imperial School of Agribusiness. And I'm very sure that as the founder, sir, has shared his own inner urge that one day he wants many of us to come down offline. We look forward to, even though it may be on paid basis, we would still be love to be over there. Heads off to the professional outlook of your entire team, and a big congratulations. One thing which I would love to request, I only received the feedback link of the fifth day session. I did not receive any link for any other day sessions. Have I missed out something, or there is
No,
some
no, no,
technical
sir.
glitch?
No, sir. So basically, earlier we used to share the feedback for every speakers, like
Okay.
last time. But
Okay.
this time, only Neeraj sir has requested that he wanted to have
Okay.
feedback from the faculty side. So he
Understood.
asked me that,
Understood.
Ranjana, I would be requiring the feedback how the session went. So
Understood.
that's why I have shared that particular speaker's feedback form.
I thought that only a fifth day link is being shared, and what about others? But
I have
otherwise,
only shared.
ma'am, heads off. Even Shaurya sir, whom I could find on 3 days for as a coordinator of the online platform.
Right.
Heads off to your passion and professionalism, and look forward to have offline sessions as well at your worthy institute. Along with me, I would definitely recommend my different faculty colleagues in different SAUs of Gujarat as well, that as and when in future, whether online or offline, you come up with such FDP programs, we would definitely love to be a part of it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, sir. It's great hearing from you. It's a
Thanks.
really pleasure for us. So, I mean, so on that remark, if you wanted to share anything, please welcome. I mean, I welcome you all, or else we can, stop the session now. We can conclude the session now, and definitely we'll hope meet you soon here. We are in the planning for inviting the faculties here in our campus. So soon you will be again. I'll connect with you on call, and we'll discuss on this.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Dr. Ravis, and before we hang up, I'd like just to express my gratitude for like organizing such a wonderful training program for the all the faculty members. So I'd like to especially thanks all the ISAB official, all the faculty member who were there, and particularly I love the session which was taken by the Dr. Brian sir, and then of course all the session was really wonderful and full of learning. So thank you so much, ma'am. As Mehul sir said, I would also definitely recommend all my fellow faculty member in future, if there is a program, then they should connect, and it is really beneficial, and you people are doing a great service to the nation. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. Great pleasure to hear this. All right, sir. Thank you so much for your timings. Thank you so much for your support. And we'll connect you again.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes, sir. Please. Yes, sir.
Can we get contents of speakers on email?
So you want contents as in PPT, sir? You would be requiring
Yes,
the
sir.
PPT's
Either
presentation?
PPT or whatever.
All right. So let me connect with the speakers again, and we'll speak to them if they are comfortable. If they share the PPT with me, I'll definitely share it with you. I have your email IDs. I'll share it with you.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Anything, sir, I can help you with? All right, sir. Then thank you so much. Wish you all
Thanks.
the best, and please take care of yourself. Thank you very
Thanks a
much.
million, ma'am. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.